Hello and welcome to the Voice of Intuition podcast. My name is Susan Jane and I believe that trusting your intuition is the best way to live your life with meaning and purpose. Each week you will hear about how you can connect, develop and trust your intuition through the wonderful array of guests we have on the show and my own personal experiences. Join me to understand how your intuition can guide you towards a life full of meaning and loving purpose. Hello and welcome to the Art of Intuition podcast. I am Susan Jane and I am your host for today. And today is the last of the series and it's all about enjoying life, creating, building and growing with intention. We've gone through all the other areas of how we can remove different situations, how we can suppress some of those negative energies. But today it's all about growth and going forward. So life isn't just about surviving. It is about thriving. But there's so much negativity going on in this world. And I know I get caught up with it. A couple of weeks back, that I was going through that period of, what? I just didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing. We all get like that. We all have that aspect. And then last week I couldn't put a podcast out because we had a cyclone go through. Now, we don't normally get cyclones on the Gold Coast in Australia, but we happened to get one going through that week. And it does make you sit back and rethink and have a look at life and get a bit of an understanding in it. Now, we can get caught up in these fears. I know I've been there, done that. I've got caught up with those areas, but we need to look at how we can really enjoy our life. And we can do that through intentional living, living with intent. So we can create new beliefs. We can build stronger support systems. We can grow in a way that aligns with us. Now, just like the Scissor Energy taught us how to cut away those things that no longer serve us, it allows to cut away those areas. It allows us room to have something new, to be able to bring in new things. Now, there's no way we can think about all these lovely positive things that we could do if we're still sitting in that old belief system. So we need to change that and update those. Now, one of the ways we can cut away that old belief system is basically ask if this belief is truly yours. Now, one area that is really strong in that is our money, because we pick that up from family, from society, from past experiences. And one of the aspects of money, and again, I still have this issue as myself, is that there's not enough money. Now, that's an old belief system. There is plenty of money. There's money moving and money coming around all the time. And it is our way of changing that belief system. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, all right for you to say, it isn't all right for me to say. I did have to change my ways. I did have to change my belief systems. I do still go down in the dumps sometimes when there's not enough money to do what I want to do. But I have to still change that mindset. At the moment, there's not enough money for me to do what I want to do, but it's coming through. It's here. It's arriving at any time. I'm just waiting for it to come in and it's going to happen. We do have to be mindful on how we do those. And there's a whole range of topics and blogs and podcasts that can help you with these mindsets and with that sort of area. So have a look at those and get an understanding of it. But really start to think about, is that your belief system? Or is that, even if it is your belief system, is that where you want to be? One of the little things that I did that just started to change, instead of saying, I can't afford that, I started to say, I choose not to spend my money on that. So if I was looking at something where I go, oh, there's, put $50 in my purse, always had $50 in my purse. I had $50 there I could spend. Put $100 in your purse if that's what, depending on what price bracket you have. Put some money in your purse and then go, do I choose to spend that on that or not? And you start to have more power with your beliefs. You start to cut away those old beliefs and start to have more power with your beliefs. So you start to get back down to the truth of things. Now, again, my money will only go so far until I start to bring in more, which is fine. I've got to get that understanding. But if I have that belief that more is coming, it's always there. I can afford to spend this because I know more's coming. Then we start to change those old belief systems. And if I believe there's more coming, there will be more coming. So when you're looking at your beliefs, try asking yourself, what's holding you back? Can you change that? And often it's when you're really tapping into your intuition, it's that feeling more so than that thinking. I think I could buy that, or I think this is going to happen. I feel it. If we can go down to that feeling and start to really move that feeling, you're going to have a better ability to change those beliefs, because they need to be in line with your feelings. So if you don't believe that there's enough money, and you go into your feelings, and that's where you're feeling, it's going to be quite negative, quite dark, quite heavy. If you start to go, okay, well, I want it to feel different. I'm going to feel that there's more money coming in, and make it feel lighter, make it feel freer, make it feel more authentic, and get in touch with that feeling, because that's the energy, not necessarily the money. It's that lighter, freer energy that you want to attract. And that's how you'll get there and receive the money, or receive the change of beliefs that you want. That's about changing those beliefs. Then we want to start to build a support system that really aligns with the best version of you. So we've got to start moving things around and start to change things around. Now, being in a job, in a position where you're not happy, you need to look into that deeper and get an understanding of why you're not happy. So I started because I do digital marketing. I build websites, I do all that analytical stuff. You'd be surprised. And I love the analytics. I love the figures and the numbers and things like that. But I have changed and gone into a different digital marketing agency. Now, there was a lot of issues with it, because from where I'd come from, I had put all these systems in place and put everything in place, and it was really cool. It was really running well. But I felt like I'd reached my ceiling there. So I wanted to learn and grow and develop and build again. The support system I had around me wasn't strong at the new place. However, as I've got in there and I've started to look at, okay, what is the issues? How am I aligning that the best way with me? I start to be able to put things together and change things. And I can start to encourage growth and I start to celebrate my wins, and I support my healing journey. So these are those little areas that I look at. Well, how can I do that? What does that look like? Where is it? Where am I going with that? And I always go back into my feelings. When I talk about how you can help develop your intuition, when the phone rings, don't look at it and you sort of start to guess who's on the phone, who's ringing you. So you start by getting an understanding, and what you'll do is you'll think about it. You'll go, my partner could be ringing now because I know that we've got to do this today, or we've got to do that today. So you think about it. As you get better in picking who it is through the thinking, then I want you to start to feel it. So instead of going, the phone rings, instead of going, oh, who is it? And you're thinking, go, who am I feeling at the moment? Who does it feel like? And take your thoughts and your energy and your attention, your focus towards your heart chakra, or to your solar plexus. Solar plexus is even better, because that's really where you're starting to get the feelings coming through. So start to look at it in a different way and build those support systems around you that lines with the very best version of you. So when you're looking at when I was looking in my work and everything else, what is it that I liked? I really liked the job. I liked the idea of putting together these processes and allowing things to grow and develop and smoothly flow through. I really enjoy that side of it. What didn't I like? Oh, well, sometimes I just get dragged from pillar to post. Now, I don't mind helping other people, but when you're getting dragged, not feeling like you're in your right headspace. So I had to start to change things around. So it became more supportive to me. So when people ask me to do things, I could then go, well, do you need that done now? Can I do that after I finish this? Yes, no worries. Do it after then. Okay, cool. And that allowed me to keep in my headspace, keep me where I needed to be, and then flip and change as I went along. So I started to build those support systems around me. And you can do that at home, especially on social media. Don't go looking at the crap that's on social media if it isn't making you feel good. If it's making you feel crappy, then it is not the place you need to be. All right. Social media is really, really strong with those support systems. If you want to change up the algorithm there, and again, I know because I work in that industry, if you want to change up the algorithm, start to click and like things that you like, so the algorithm stays with that area. I'm not a big one for clicking and liking things. I just tend to look at them and then move on. So the algorithm doesn't know what I like. And I do that deliberately because I just couldn't be bothered getting the same crap all the time. But we start to, because I like looking at different things. So I like looking at Yowies and Yetis, and I like looking at UFOs and things like that. But I don't want them surrounding my social media all the time. I love positive outlooks. I love positive thinking. But again, I don't want to be bombarded with coaches all the time, life coaches all the time. I get sick of hearing it all the time. It's like you're telling me what to do, but you're not actually doing it yourself. So start to create those support systems that are not just locally within you, that also take on that broader aspect as well. Start to, you're listening to this podcast. You're listening to it because it resonates with you, or at least the heading resonates with you, or at least the name of the podcast resonates with you. So you're starting to look at a better version of you instead of maybe watching something else or listening to something that could bring you down. Because I know there's a lot of places and things that we listen to that brings you down. Well, for one, the news. I mean, that always brings me down. So I don't want to not watch the news all the time, but I do limit myself to watching the news. And you know what? You don't really miss out on a lot, I can assure you. And with the news, they're only producing what they believe will create the most emotional, effect on you. So be mindful of that as well. So this is all about building that area around you. Another area is family and friends too, because look, as much as family, we love family. I had a beautiful weekend with my family this weekend past, and I love being with my family. So I don't have any qualms with that. But I know not everybody's like that. I know people have family that they just don't want to have anything to do with. And that's okay too. You do not have to be there. We are all put into this position to get a learning, to get an understanding. But just because you may be clashing with somebody in your family or your friends, it doesn't mean they're always in the wrong. We can't just completely blame them. We need to look at a relationship takes two. So we need to look at both areas of that. And we learn from that and we grow from that. So don't be afraid to say, hey, I could have done that better. I could have looked at that a little bit differently. And that way you're then starting to get a better understanding of who you are and how you're automatically going into these areas. This helps you lift that up and changes the way things are. So if you're feeling a little bit down, start to have a look at that support system around you, because it's very, very hard to change your beliefs when you're with people that have the same beliefs. Now, I see this a lot because I do readings down at Coolangatta. I did weekly. I go there once a week and I do readings down there. Constant. Well, you get people coming and going. So you have no prep or anything like that. You just got people coming and going all the time. In that sort of environment, they do get a lot into the conspiracy theories, which I don't disagree with, but I don't 100% agree with either. They get stuck into those conspiracy theories. Now, like I said, there is a lot in them and there is a lot of understanding. And unfortunately, the conspiracy theories are using negative fear tactics, just like the other people are using the fear tactics as well. So consequently, for me, for me to believe the conspiracy theories, I found that very, very negative, very, very hard, very, very draining. I also feel that following the government and things like that is very, very hard and very, very draining as well. But at least they try and put a positive spin on it. And I get why the conspiracy theories are putting all this forward, because they're trying to open your eyes up to different things. But it's really challenging when you're sitting in that negative energy constantly day after day. It does not do us any good. So I've come to the conclusion, and it's probably not the right one for anyone else, but it's the right one for me. I've come to the conclusion that, okay, I understand your conspiracy theories. I take them on board. I get an understanding of it, but I do not want to sit and wallow in it, because that is doing me no good at all. All right. It's not positive for me. It's not helping me. I'm aware of them. I understand that there's stuff happening, but I want to live my very best life. And I know, like the people like Nelson Mandela and there's other people that have been incarcerated that have still managed to live their very best life because of their mindset and because of their way of and incarcerated for the wrong reasons. I will put that forward as well. But it's their mindset and their belief systems that they have been able to adjust. So their environment hasn't been 100% positive, but they have been able to live in a very, very positive way because they have supported themselves to bring out the very best of themselves. So there's those sort of areas there that we need to look at. Now, try this. Okay, I've got a little note here. Try this. Notice who makes you feel energized and who drains you. Okay, so set boundaries where you need it and invest time in relationships that bring out the best in you. Now, sometimes there's relationships there that we just cannot build. We cannot create. We cannot create any happiness with. We have to allow some of those relationships to go. But you let them go, not blaming them or not creating a reason why. You let them go and you send them off with love. You allow that to go and you set your boundaries there. There's lots of ways to set those boundaries, but you getting in contact with your intuition, you getting that understanding will be able to be the best way to set those boundaries. So there's a lot of going within, getting into that feeling area again. So that's going to help you there in building that support system. All right. Again, we can't be positive if you're living in a lot of negativity. So try and step out of it. And again, you can step in and step out. You can still be friends with people, but just really monitor how that happens because again, with social media, because your friends on social media, do you need to see all their posts? If that's dragging you down, do you need to see all those posts? Start liking others' posts that are more positive, more uplifting for you, so you don't need to always sit in that area. Then the last part about enjoying our life, creating, building and growing with intention is about growth. All right. Now, we're always open to learning. We're always learning, constantly learning, evolving, growing, expanding. Life is a cycle. We know that. We cycle around it constantly. We've had situations happen. I've had situations happen to me, and I felt like I had dealt with them, but they seem to come back again on a different level, and they keep coming back on different levels. So that's okay. For example, if you lose a loved one, all right, we really sad to start with. And then 12 months later, we sort of remember that's when it was, or their birthday comes and we remember when that was, and we still go back in it. We still can grieve, but it usually gets less and less because you're grieving on a different level. Now you're starting to get a better understanding. And we go through that sort of area. So we're always growing. We're always open. We're always learning and evolving. And it's on deeper levels as you go. So with the situation where I left my body and my near-death experience, those different areas there that I have experienced, I feel, okay, I'll put it this way. The very first one, when I left my body, it was a pack rape. I was tapped on the shoulders, turned around, and was punched in the face and knocked out. Then I had a pack rape. Now, there's a big story on that. You can see that on my website. I've been on quite a few podcasts for it, and you can get an understanding on it there. So I'm not going through it all here. However, what I have noticed that I felt like I was through it all. I was walking the other morning and I've come into our area and I've done the last little lap, and this white car came up behind me and drove really slow behind me. It really scared me. Like, these visions of the attack came back at me again, and it was a completely different level. This car was only slowing down because it was turning, and it was waiting for me to walk past so it could turn, because I was walking on the road. There was no footpath. I was walking on the road. It was all very innocent, but the emotions and the feelings that I got, it just was it was overwhelming. By the time I'd come around the corner, got back into the home, I was in tears. I was a mess. Because it felt like it was all coming back again. So it was that little level, that little area there that I hadn't experienced before, that I needed to learn and get an understanding of again, and allow that to come through. So we're always learning. We're always opening ourselves to expansion. So don't be afraid if things start to pop back up in your face and you have to deal with them again, because that's what's part of it. One of the other areas you can do is to commit to one learning experience a month. And maybe it could be a book or a course, a workshop, whatever it is, just commit to one learning experience a month. I've got back into reading. Thanks to the cyclone, I've got back into reading. And I've just picked up this one now. Look, it's an old book, obviously, by Alison Dubois. We Are Their Heaven, Why the Dead Never Leave Us. So I wanted to improve my mediumship again, like lift it a little bit, take it up another level. I found this book, somebody happened to give it to me, and I went, oh, well, that's been around for a little while, this one. But it's been really good to get an understanding of how Alison Dubois does her mediumship. Because there was areas there that I was sort of looking at, but I didn't know if that's, but that's right or wrong. Did it feel right? Did it not? It doesn't hurt to get a few tidbits from other people. And that's what I did with this book. I haven't quite finished it, but I got through a lot of it. There's stuff in there that I don't agree with. Honestly, I don't necessarily think that that's me. I have a different perspective on it, and that's fine too. It doesn't matter. But there was a lot of good information in there, getting through it. So I've got lots of little tidbits. So it's really nice to be able to commit to yourself to a learning experience once a month, and we can pick up courses pretty cheap. You want to learn how to do flower readings, there's that. My course is on there. We can pick up these little things a little bit quicker. Again, we don't have to believe everything they say. We don't have to agree with everything they say, but we will pick up bits and pieces from it. And that's what learning is all about. We will mold it and change it to suit us, and that's what it's all about. So to commit to one learning experience a month, it doesn't have to be huge, just little things that we can do. Now embrace the joy and possibilities. So you have got an understanding now. We have got rid of a lot of those, taken away a lot of those negative thought beliefs, of patterns. Even if we haven't taken them away, we've become aware of them, that we know that they're there. And we also know that there's opportunities to change them. We've also looked at then how we can build a support system around us, how we can change those areas around us and create a system that best suits you. One of the things I do in my system is I go for a walk every morning. I love my morning walk. I don't feel like I've achieved anything, or I can't get myself going until I've had that morning walk. That's me, and I've been doing it for years. So I love that. And then, of course, we've talked about growth as well, how we're constantly learning and expanding. Just because we've got through one thing, I remember my partner saying to me, maybe you should go and see a counsellor about the attack, because obviously this was after this car incident. Obviously, there's still things there that you haven't quite dealt with. And I sort of agreed with him. I did at one stage. I did go and go to a counsellor, because when it actually happened, I never did. I did go to a counsellor, but I actually found that going to a counsellor, and I happened to have one that was quite a lot. I reckon she was just out of school. I didn't feel comfortable with that counsellor, so that never went anywhere. But I also feel that this sort of learning, like, for me to have that such a strong feeling with this car coming up behind me, it was a truer learning for me, and I needed to deal with that. I needed to go through that. I feel that if I just talked about it, I don't think anything would have brought that sort of feeling up. So going through and learning and growing is all part of the process of life. So that's what we need to do. So enjoying life doesn't mean ignoring all the challenges or pretending negativity doesn't exist. It means choosing where to place your focus and your energy. By creating new beliefs, building supportive relationships, and committing to a lifelong growth, you step into a life that feels lighter, more fulfilling, and truly aligned with your soul's purpose. Woohoo! So take a deep breath, cut away those that no longer serve you, build a life that supports the very best version of you, and most importantly, allow yourself to grow, explore, and enjoy the beauty of life. Joy isn't something to wait for. We need to create it now. If you want to learn more about how to connect with your intuition, jump onto my website, intuitivenature.com.au, and you will find little courses in there and different things like that. This is the end of this series. I am actually going to be starting to look a little bit more into how you can start to see your intuitive messages. Now, I've created this tool so you can see the images in front of you. You can see what messages you're getting. And I'm going to run through and I'm going to walk this step by step. I haven't had any more downloads as far as our powers go. I did have an amazing download the other day, and it felt quite angelic. I will talk about that another time because I'm running out of time now. But that's me for this week. Join next week and we will start talking about how you can actually see your intuitive messages. So I'll just move that. I am Susan Jane. Have a great week and we will see you next week. Bye for now.